Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the channel. This is Grady, the alchemist. Yes, the word I have for you today is an exciting word. It's a word that everyone is faced with at some point or other, and that word is fear. 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 What is it that makes us so afraid? How do we become fearful? Do we become fearful by nature? Are we taught fear? Is fear inherited? Is fear passed from generation to generation? Well, there are a number of behavioral and psychological reasons for fear, but there is some normalcy to fear. Today, I want to share with you how we should look at fear. Paul, in his first letter to Timothy, was celebrating the fact that he was his son and wrote him the letter uh, to get him started and encouraged in his pastoral ministry. And in the first chapter of First Timothy, around the seventh verse, Paul says to him, he says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." It's clear fear does not come from God. So if it doesn't come from God, where is it coming from? No, that's an easy guess. The enemy. Now, Paul had encouraged Timothy up until this point. He had talked about how he laid holy hands on him and set him apart to do the work of pastoral ministry. He wanted him to be strong, be focused, stand on his foundational teachings of how important it is to preach and teach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Um, and he knew that there would be a lot of new things Timothy would experience. And so he was a growing pastoral leader, and he just wanted to remind him of what was most important. And he reminded him that his testimony was a great part of what he was doing and to do, and that he belonged to Jesus Christ. And by belonging to him, he was with the most powerful source and resource in the universe. And so, how does fear affect us? Well, we first need to recognize the source of fear. And once we acknowledge that fear doesn't come from God, we should have nothing to be afraid of. Now, from a spiritual perspective, when we see the word fear used in a godly context, we teach people as witnesses for Jesus Christ to fear God. And the usage of that term in the Greek means to respect and reverence God. Never demean him, never talk down to him, or talk as if he's not in charge of the universe. God is creator, maker, and architect of the universe. So respect him, reverence him, and fear him for all practical purposes. Uh, that's the only time we are to understand the word fear. It means respect, spiritually speaking. Now, the other time we see this used, not only is Paul telling Timothy, "Don't be afraid," and but remember how God teaches the term fear. But it also in the 23rd Psalm, David writes about, uh, "Yea, though I walk through the valley in the shadow of death, I would fear no evil." Why? Why did David say that? Because God was with him. And this is what he says in that 23rd Psalm. Don't fear because God is with you. And so, as a follower of Christ and a believer, you have no reason to be afraid of anything. Now, if you're not a part of the family of God and a follower of Jesus Christ, then I'm certain you're afraid of a whole bunch of stuff. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if you were afraid of a fly. That's because you don't understand spiritually that fear did not come from God, it comes from the enemy. And so get it out of your vocabulary, get it out of your dictionary, get it out of your thinking, and turn to God so that you can be fearless. The scripture says man has passed on from death unto life because he loves the brethren. There's no fear in perfect love. Perfect love casteth out all fear. And that's where Christ is training and teaching us in his word, that we will mature to the point that we have no fear of anything, but we have great fear and respect and reverence for God. And so this is the word I wanted to share with you today. Fear doesn't come from God, it comes from man. So I didn't give you the spirit of fear, says Paul, but of power, love, and self control. Remember, you've got nothing to be afraid of because you're on God's side. And if God be for us, who can be against us? God bless you. I love you. Shalom, Mishpachah. Shalom, family. Until then.